and you build your own unique way of seeing the world on the understanding, the crucial level, which is I am all that is, has been, and ever can be. I am not human. That's my experience. That is the biological computer system that my consciousness is entrapped by if I allow it to be. And I can, with my consciousness, override that program, that biological program. When you're awakening to all possibility, it's a forever constant awakening to all possibility and exploring all possibility, unless you keep breaking through these walls. Like Socrates said, to know is to know you know nothing. That is the true knowledge. You keep breaking through these walls into more and more expansive awareness, to the point where you realize no one is ever awake. We're always awakening.
Hey, Inspired Tribe, my fellow freedom lovers. John Nolan here. Thank you so much for tuning in to another inspired conversation. And I almost wish you could have been here with me for the past 30 minutes as David Icke, my guest today, and I were chatting. A beautiful conversation, but we're going to bring a lot of that into our show today. It's going to be a little different. We're going to talk about the past. We're going to talk about 1991 when David wrote a book, the essence of which I think is playing out right now in all its complexity, wildness, madness, and beauty, all of the above. And we're going to talk about this phenomenon that we call the awakening, how it plays out in our world today, inside of us, how it's affecting people in expected and oftentimes very unexpected ways, and also, what are the traps? What are the pitfalls? What do we think is awakening, but might actually just be another distraction? And where do we sell ourselves short and realize we've already come much farther than we thought before? So please welcome with me the one and only David Icke. It's wonderful to have you back, sir.
Thanks, mate. You're looking well.
So are you. So are you. And you're telling me just a few weeks ago, people don't, not everybody knows this about you, but you love trains. And you told me
Oh
about
yeah, steam trains. Yeah.
steam trains. Yeah, you told me about an event you went to, and I sort of I didn't know we were going to start there, but you had a beautiful observation at this 1960 steam train event. Something beautiful happened there, didn't it?
Well, I think what the event was a 1960s day at a steam heritage railway, and I looked at it and I thought 1960s music and steam trains, you got me. And so I went along, and it was quite like a relatively small Welsh town where it took place. Beautiful area, and the number of people from all walks of life, not just at the event but in the street in general, who came up to me and said, "Hey, I've been reading your books. I've been following your stuff for years. Keep going, keep going." Was just kind of pinch me. It can't be true. It was happening so often, and it is happening all the time now. And so you kind of need that a little bit to let you know just how far, after 36 years, this information has now got out there. Because you've got people, younger people now, who come onto the social media, etc., and they don't realize your background. They don't realize how long you've been doing it. But this was a real kind of just what I needed, really, to give me a confirmation of just how far it's got out there, not just in Britain but worldwide. And I've been kind of going through a changing phase recently, which kind of fits in with that in the sense of I'm not having my attention focused on this information all the time now, uh, in the in the sense of chasing deadlines. Gotta, because it's out there. It's circulating. People who are ready for it will hear it. People who are not, they won't. And so I've given myself a lot more ponder time in the last like month, a lot more daydreaming time. I mean, I spend most of my time daydreaming anyway. It's my natural state, but I mean, even more so. And also, instead of just focusing on the information, focusing on things that are apparently nothing to do with the information, but they take your, if you like, your conscious mind away to focus on them and let other levels of you in where that focus shuts them out because you're so focused. Gotta. And for the first time in my life, I've become a bit of a gardener in the last month.
That's wonderful.
Yeah, I've got me plants, and I've always wanted a garden full of color. And I thought, sod it, I'm gonna do it this time. So I've filled my garden with color, and I love it. And one of the things I do, and I'm watering the plants, which I do regularly, especially at the moment with so little rain, and it gives you this ponder time where your mind just wanders, and it's amazing what comes in. You know what I've found in the last like month and or few weeks more, um, is a tremendous sudden clarity where I've always sought to do from the start is to take complexity or what appears to be complexity and simplify the explanation of it, because so much of what we call science, a lot of it is what we call science, is given over by people to experts like scientists and academics and all these people because, well, I don't really understand it. That they do, they're experts. And so you have all these bloody equations on blackboards. Oh, this is reality. It's this equation, and you say, oh, God. So what I've been trying to do is take this complexity and see that actually the complexity is a smokescreen for stunning simplicity. So I've done that, all the way through the years, and sought to do that. But in the last like month, 5, 6 weeks, the ability to take the complex and to put it in simple languages, like in simple language, like two sentences, has suddenly just exploded beyond anything like it was before. So I see something that posted that seems to be really complex, and you can explain it in a sentence, two sentences, because you are allowing in what's already sitting there, but focus of attention shuts it out. And I think one of the big ways that humanity is controlled and um, kind of walled off from its true and infinite uh, potential to understand is by constantly giving people reasons to focus their attention. Okay, so focus your attention here. Okay. Yeah. Got it. All this is gone now. Whoa, yeah. Like survival. Survival's a wonderful focuser of attention. You got to survive another day in different parts of the world, in all their different ways. You've got to survive another day. You've got to survive. I've got to earn some money, pay the rent at the end of the month, and all this stuff. This focus of attention, particularly on survival in its various forms, and all this is shut out. And when you go like that, you become the observer, much more the observer, um, instead of the focuser. Then so much suddenly becomes clear to you, or clearer to you, than it was before.
That's I just shared with you earlier. That's been my experience over the last 12 months. We bought this small farm out here in the country, and the chickens, the geese, the goats, you can just sit there and observe them. And it's literally the same experience you shared. There's such beauty and simplicity, and your mind, all the chatter goes away. You're just here, you're now, and things are sort of coming in. And as you said that over the years, that's been your intention to simplify the seemingly complex. I feel like I went back to your 1991 book, The Truth Vibrations, which was the first book after what you called your spiritual awakening, your big sort of aha moment. And the core message was incredibly simple, but I don't think it was understandable for most people back then, which is a time is coming where the vibration is going to change, and it's going to help people to wake up from their slumber, from their coma.
Yeah.
And obviously that sounds like a wonderful thing, but it's 2026 and things are really wild. And this awakening comes with so many different experiences and symptoms. Did you, in that simplicity of putting it out there, could you foresee the times that we're in now? Could you see this moment in all its wildness and complexity? Or was it more a spiritual awareness?
People who've come to this more recently uh, will understandably, I'm with them, say the awakening's got to be faster, faster, faster. There's not enough people waking up. And I'm with you. But I come from the perspective of 1990, 91, 92, 93, 94, 95, on and on and on. When I was being ridiculed in the street wherever I went, and dismissed in all these different ways on what I was saying. Every time I introduced something new, it's like, oh, he's got even madder now. And the other part of that, funnily enough, is you say things, load of rubbish, you're mad. They happen. Oh, well, I've got to give him that. I mean, he was right about this. And then you say something else, and they go, oh, no, too far now. He's gone too far now. And then that comes right. And then the sequence continues, right? Um, and so I remember in when I started out in 1990 that it wasn't no one. It wasn't no one, but it seemed like no one uh, was getting this information at all. And now you look today, and you see the fantastic way that so many people have awakened to concepts they would have laughed at before. And you realize that while, yeah, oh, people aren't waking up quickly enough. No, okay. But I can tell you from my own experience, compared with 1990, it's absolutely fantastic what's happening in terms of people awakening. And I think also, mate, that we've got to um, disconnect our perception of awakening from the internet and social media. Because if you do that, I mean, there are some very intelligent people who comment on social media, but there are, um, let's say, let's say there are enormous numbers of people who aren't. And you can tend to um, look at comments and opinions on social media, and you can think, well, are we getting nowhere here? But then people stop you in the street. They do all the time now. And you have a conversation with them. You're like standing outside of a supermarket, and a bloke comes up to you with his shopping bag, and you start having a conversation about, I've been following your stuff and all that stuff, and suddenly you're in a deep, deep conversation about the nature of reality with a very intelligent bloke. And then on this occasion, another guy comes up with his shopping bag and he gets involved, and we're having this deep conversation about reality. And that's been my experience, is that when people meet you eye to eye in the street, who don't post on social media and all this stuff, you're seeing a tremendous difference between the levels of awakeness of uh, members of the population against often extremes of asleepness on social media. And so that gives you encouragement that we are making progress. But you, when you look at the forces at work from the shadows through those in the public eye, um, to manipulate humanity and shut us down, not least AI human fusion. That's what that's all about. Um, you know that they're not just going to leave this awakening alone, because to awaken to your plight, to awaken to your power, true power, is to bring the house of cards they've built down. So they're not going to leave it. And I've seen, especially since COVID, how people have come out of the mainstream into the so called alternative. Algorithms bloody love them. And they get the focus of attention. We're back to that again, focus of attention. Uh, but what they're doing is holding back the awakening. They're holding it back through their obsession and focus upon politics, and massively, overwhelmingly so, on religion. And these are politics and religion. They're gatekeeper structures. They are there to hold you in a limited sense of A, awareness, and B, the true magnitude of who you really are beyond all the crap. And so there are different levels of awakening. There's levels of awakening where people have gone, yes, there's a conspiracy and it's political, and the politics is manipulated, and we need a new political party. Um, so okay, we're going to go round and round and round on the same merry-go-round, are we? Oh yeah, okay. Uh, and then you contrast that with people you meet in the street who don't get focused upon on social media, and they see that actually understanding the nature of reality is to understand that politics and religion are actually gatekeepers of perception. And when I've studied this over the years, it's so clear. People talk about religion, bricks and mortar religion, as my father used to call it. But religion is a mentality. It's not a mosque and it's not a synagogue or a church. It does express itself that way, but it's not in its foundation state. It's a mentality. And that mentality, irony of ironies, also includes mainstream orthodox science, because it's a religion. And science has its holy books of scientific orthodoxy, and it has a limit to what you can say, discover, and research before you are dubbed a pseudo-scientist or just dabbling in the paranormal, whatever. So there's a limit. And that limit is the mentality I'm talking about and the way it expresses itself in society. So your limit in science is don't go into these areas, the so-called paranormal. They call it para because they can't explain it from their orthodoxy. It's happening. It's happening to loads of people all the time, but I can't explain it, so it can't be happening. And so the outcome is you don't go into those areas or you're not a credible scientist. Can I see it, touch it, taste it? Well, okay, well, it exists then, all right. It's a sense-based, a 5 sense-based excuse for science. And then you look at religion, and what religion is exactly the same mentality. It's saying, this is your story. It's a different story in different religions, but there's a story, and you can't go beyond the story. And you certainly can't question the story. Because if you do, then you're dabbling in the occult and the devil. And what is the common theme? Politics again. This is your ideology, MAGA, the left, whatever. And if you say things or question things that go beyond the ideology, and God forbid you're saying that someone on the other side might have something interesting, worthwhile to say, you are a traitor to the ideology. Condemn him. And what's the common theme again? Here's a story. This is your focus. This is your perception. Don't go beyond it. And true awakening, because there are people that follow religions and think they're awakening. Now, what does awakening mean? It means you become more aware beyond what you were before. Fine. And you can follow a religion, you can follow orthodox science, you can follow even a political ideology, and you can marginally become aware of more than you were yesterday. So, in a sense, that's an awakening. But true awakening is to see that all these expressions of the same mentality are again gatekeeping your perception of reality so that you don't unleash yourself and explore all possibility beyond it. And so true awakening is what I've called over the years the blank sheet of paper, which says, I'm going to go anywhere and I'm going to research, explore whatever my intuition and my synchronicity of life, whatever leads me to. And I'm not going to believe everything I come across. You actually become more streetwise the more you awaken. But I am going to give it a chance to make its case. And if it makes its case to my satisfaction, then I'm going to start talking about it. And I know that when I do so, this is me talking to myself long way back in the 1990s. I know when I do so, I'm going to get ridicule and dismissal and abuse. I know I'm going to do that. But my self-respect for my right, my infinite consciousness right to explore and express my spin on life and reality is far more important to me than the abuse and ridicule that's going to come as a result. And so you keep going and you keep exploring. You're mad. Oh, thanks for sharing that with us. Much appreciated. You're dangerous. Well, to the system, I hope so. And therefore, you keep going. And I hope, well, hope that's always in the future. I trust, better word, that I have shown people that you don't have to withdraw in the face of even historic levels of abuse and ridicule. You can just keep going. And the ridicule and the abuse goes in one ear and out the other and doesn't touch the bloody sides on the way through. Because you are going to do it your way and not someone else's way where they're trying to impose their way on you. And so I hope, wrong word, I trust that people have looked at this with where it's gone now and said, hey, I don't have to bow no matter what scale of abuse and ridicule I get. I don't have to bow. I don't have to disappear and come back into the system. I can be me. I can be a unique expression that is me, a unique expression of infinite awareness. Infinite awareness is all possibility waiting to manifest. And therefore, we are an expression at our deepest level, beyond the diversions and the psychological manipulation. At the deepest level, we are expressions of all possibility. And this idea that you talk about oneness, we talk about the connectedness of everything. And it's almost like people get the impression that to reach this point of oneness is to become like everyone's the same. I'm oneness and I'm oneness and I'm oneness and I'm oneness and all, just like all of you. But no, we are dealing at our core level, the true I. We are all possibility waiting to manifest. So therefore, the more you focus and create the myopia of human perception, the more everyone's the bloody same. The more you awaken to the true I, all possibility, the less you become the same. The more the celebration of uniqueness is a celebration of being a part of all possibility. And what you tend to get, you'll know all about this as well in your own experience. The truly awakened people are one-offs. There's not, they're not people who you'd say, "Oh yeah, they're just like everyone else." No, 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 no. When you awaken, you're not like everyone else. That's why the everyone else society ridicules and abuses you because you're different. And so what I've seen in this, um, again, gatekeeper alternative media hijack is, I mean, look at MAGA. Look at MAGA. I'm just picking out that. I could talk about wokeness as well.
But it's
Just
just that's a very, very strong thought form. That's just a very strong thought form in the world right now.
yeah, they are all the frickin' same. All right, now on the face of what Trump has done and what some of us said he would do and what some of us said he was since 2016, they're going, "Oh no, 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 he's not doing what he said he'd do." What do you think he ever was? They're now kind of withdrawing from it. And they're withdrawing from it kind of in so many ways as one unit. And now so many of them are now circulating around the new unit.
They're
Your
looking
Carl
for a new
Bilzers
home,
and
a
all
new
these
box,
people.
a new
Yeah,
flag. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Oh no, who's the savior now? It's Chaka. Yeah. Oh yeah. All right. So anyway, what you are looking at when you truly awaken is you're not looking for a savior. You're not externalizing your power and handing it to someone else, which is what the game is really all about. Give me your power. Give me your power. All right, sir, I'll give you my power. Okay. When can I have me power back? Well, you can vote every 4 or 5 years for masks on the same face, all controlled by us, and then you'll have the idea that you are choosing your rulers. You ain't really, but we'll give you that thought. Oh, by the way, there's a new political party here, but some good buddy Carlson's sorting out. Um, Whereas when you truly awaken, you see politics, you see religion, you see all of it for the gatekeeper structures that they are, and you go your own unique way. You take from people that feel right. Yeah, I read this book. I felt real right to me, and all that stuff. That's fine. That's no problem. It's all part of it. But you don't. You pick and choose. You let your intuition say, yeah, that feels right. That feels really right. That feels really right. Oh, no, I don't really go with that. It don't feel right. Well, leave it then. Put it on the back burner and see if other information comes along to make you look at it differently. But for the moment, leave it. And you build your own unique way of seeing the world on the understanding, the crucial level of understanding, which underpins everything else, which is I am all that is, has been, and ever can be, currently having a very brief, crazy human experience. I am not human. That's my experience. That is the biological computer system that my consciousness is entrapped by if I allow it to be. Um, and I can, with my consciousness, override that program, that biological program, and I can start to express uniqueness beyond the program. So, what I'm saying, um, is that the biological computer body is a software program, not just to unconsciously run itself, which it does. So I've said many times, when do you last remember breathing? When you were out of breath. That's the only time. And then, of course, you're out of breath, it becomes conscious. Otherwise, you just breathe. You don't think about it. Keep breathing, got to keep breathing. You never do anything else, would you? And although some people, especially politicians, I wonder how they summon the brain activity to remember to breathe, even unconsciously. Myself, just my view. And anyway, what I'm saying is, once you open your mind, which is an electromagnetic field, a part of the mind body system, once you open your mind and let the true I consciousness in, then that you start to express uniqueness even through the biological computer, which is there to dictate uniformity. You know, when I before I got banned from loads of bloody countries, I used to travel the world incessantly, constantly. I mean, so many bloody countries over the last 36 years. It's unbelievable. And what I noticed is that no matter what the religious domination of the country, no matter what the cultural domination of the country, um, when situations occurred, it was like certain situations occurred, it was like someone had pressed enter, because the response, the reactions were just the same wherever you went. So you think, well, hold on a minute, there's a common theme here. It ain't consciousness, because consciousness is all possibility ways of responding. So what is it? And I concluded a long time ago now that it was this body program, which is there. I mean, the Gnostics used to call the body like a prison, and it's a prison of perception. And while the body program is driving your perception and being manipulated as you go along as well, on the body program level, you are going to be incredibly predictable in what you do and how you respond and how you see the world. But once you break that that stranglehold, that ball and chain of perception, you start tapping into the true I, consciousness beyond it. Suddenly you become, well, what's happened to Bill? He's changed. Yes, he has. He's becoming freaking conscious, mate. You want to try it? Don't know, it's honest. And that's when you see the true awakening, where people express their uniqueness from the perspective, and always from the perspective, that they, in their prime true I state, are consciousness, ultimately an expression of all consciousness, all possibility. And that awakening is stifled and stymied by the fake awakening. It's not fake in the sense that you first of all awaken to, oh, there's a political conspiracy going on and all that stuff, and a financial conspiracy going on and whatever, but you keep going, you keep going, you keep going, you keep going, you keep going. Oh, so that's what's going on. And by that time, the political conspiracy is about that big. Because you see, it's just the way the conspiracy itself plays out, keeps you in the box, keeps your focus of attention. And I see this suppression of the constant continuation of awakening by this focus of attention on fake influencers. I don't say they're fake in their entirety, but I mean fake in the sense that they only see the conspiracy in myopic terms, and they don't see its true nature, which is um, the very reality we're experiencing is not what we think we're experiencing, and the true I lies beyond that fake experience, and it's that see, awakening never ends. How can it ever end when you're awakening to all possibility? It's a forever constant awakening to all possibility and exploring all possibility. If you have awoken and you've reached a point, say, well, it's a political conspiracy, whatever, it's the deep state, it's the globalists, and you stopped. I got it now. You haven't got it. You've got more of it than you had before. But unless you keep breaking through these walls, like Socrates said, wisdom is knowing how little we know. To know is to know you know nothing. That is that is true knowledge. You keep breaking through these walls into more and more expansive awareness to the point where you realize no one is ever awake. We're always awakening because all possibility is that extraordinary in its breadth and depth and um, ways to explore it.
I'm so glad that you shared this in depth, this what this feels like, what this process is like, because I've observed this, and maybe I'm sure you have the same, especially in probably the last year, but in recent months, really, I call it, and you use that word, I call it the great withdrawing. People are literally pulling back, and some people call this phenomenon losing interest in everything, and I want to say losing interest in everything fake, in everything that's constructed for us. And the way that people describe this experience is usually very similar, is they are becoming very content in the simplicity. They have no interest in following the fake scripts. However, there's a good section of these folks that also struggle with the practical questions of this. When you see that literally this entire structure, everything is just a construct, everything is just agreements that, we sort of didn't know we entered, and we realize none of it is really real or has to be sort of followed. At some point, you ask yourself, how can I still function or still, even survive or live in this world while I know that most of it is completely fake? So there's that question that many people have, is how can I still live a fulfilled life, feed myself, feed my family, knowing that so much of this is fake? What has been your experience? Because you've gone through it, we've all gone through it. What was your process?
Well, first of all, the point you make about losing interest in everything, I know that one. Um, but like you say, what you're losing interest in, what does that mean? What you're losing focus of attention on is the fakery. And you can live in this world, but not be of it. And most people, are in this world and of it. The biological computer program is running their perception, but we are seeing an ever increasing awakening beyond it, and the uh, that's the way out of here. And you know, you can again, it's becoming the observer. It's not that you're necessarily losing interest in everything. You're losing focus upon it. You are what's withdrawing. It's like, okay, I'm going to observe this now. I'm not going to get caught in the drama. Oh my God, have you seen the latest? I'm not going to get caught in the drama. I'm going to observe it. I'm going beyond the drama. And then that's when you start to see the connections. Then that's when you see the dots connect. Once you withdraw from the drama, you see it for the nonsense that it is. And people think, how could I have possibly believed what I believed before? Because you were there before. Now you're there. Now you can see it. You're awakening from the induced slumber of myopia, and so you can, for instance, I can I can stand on the side of a railway and I can watch a steam train go past, and I can remember all the things of that when I was a kid and teenager, watching steam trains go past when they were everywhere at the time. It was the way trains were, the 50s and the 60s. Um, and I can really enjoy that. Oh, can I remember when I was watching the steam trains when I was this age or that age? But you have this knowing, this constant knowing that it's it's all a fakery. It might be your memory. It might be what you believe happened to you or whatever, and you can enjoy it. You can watch a football match and necessarily enjoy it. Um, but it's all an illusion, because this is your foundation. Your foundation is I'm all that is, has been, and ever can be, experiencing a simulated fakery designed to hijack and control my perception, thus me. You can hold that, and everything you do, you come back to it. So I can understand this losing interest in the fakery, and this awakening to the true I more and more. Um, and you can do both. The trap is to experience things in the apparent external world and think it's real. To think the body personality is you. To think your life story is you, instead of a sequence of events that your true I has experienced, which is given a name so that we know one person from another. I'm not David Icke. I'm all that is, has been, and ever can be, having a brief human experience, labeled David Icke. It's not the same thing. And so when I I've lost interest in lots of things in the fakery over the years. One or two things I still enjoy. Some new things like gardening, um, but I'm in this world, but I'm not of it, and that's what awakening is. And it's really really important that we awaken while in this human body, and I'll tell you why. Um, Over the years, in various books, I've explored the so-called afterlife and listened and researched endless people, I mean, phenomenal numbers of people in so-called near-death experiences, and especially people that have memories of the between life state, what some people might call the soul state, another level of self, still not the true I, but another level of self, which operates in this astral dimension, etc. And the common themes are very compelling that they tell. They may have different spins on it, but the experience is very compelling in its common themes. And one of them is that as we enter this human realm and enter a human vehicle which allows us to interact with this human realm of density, we pass through a it's like it's been described by some as like a vast electromagnetic field which wipes your memory, which would explain why, although some, especially young children, can remember previous experiences in this reality, usually goes by the age of 8, 10, sometimes later, but not often. Um, but most people do not have memories of that kind. Um, so you come in, you pass through the mind wipe, as I call it in the books, and you enter this realm. So you're starting with who am I? What, even if you ask those questions, who am I? Where am I? What is this place? And you go through a human life where the um, your perception is being manipulated and programmed all along, so you stay within the body program, and then you leave when your body cease to exist, because the body is a biological computer that allows consciousness to experience this reality. If I didn't have a body, I couldn't hold that glass up, because
but
the
in a very limited way, right?
very limited way, more limited the better from the
Mhm.
manipulator's point of view. So we take on this external body, which, or external body, another way of describing it, um, because it is operating within the frequency band of this human realm of density. So I can interact with it. Consciousness can't interact with it directly because they're just completely different frequencies. Then the body, which is decoding. This is what people don't get. It's what science doesn't get. It's what almost everybody doesn't get. The body is decoding this reality, this simulated reality, this information source, into a holographic state that we experience as physical.
But sorry to
And,
interrupt, but even mainstream science explains that in a way by saying your eyes don't really see, your ears don't really
yeah,
hear. You're getting electrical signals and your brain is interpreting those signals and putting a picture together in your brain,
abs-
basically.
absolutely right. This is one of the things that really gets frustrating sometimes. Is you got some of it and you got some of it, Mr. Scientist people. But what you don't do is put it all together. And one of the reasons you don't put it all together is because if you did put it all together, you wouldn't be a scientist anymore within the mainstream of orthodoxy. So I'll just stay in my little box and I won't talk to other boxes and get the big picture. So when the the body expires, it ceases to function like a computer ceases to function and the screen goes black. It ceases to decode the matrix system at this level, there are other levels, and deliver this reality to consciousness. And suddenly, that consciousness, freed from that um, delivery of reality, decoded delivery of reality, like a computer decodes Wi Fi, suddenly finds itself released from this human awareness, and it's in another reality, in another state. And that's when the whole system wants to control your perception again, just a different reality, same game, so that you'll go up the tunnel or whatever to the light, and you'll go into the recycling system back into this reality to continue to produce the low vibrational energy which the whole system kind of is founded upon. So you come in and you are mind wiped. You go through in a bewildered state, wherever whatever people may think. Actually, the foundation is that bewilderment. Who am I? Where am I? What's going on? And then you go out the other end. And one of the things I find quite amusing is when you have all these near death experiences. My God, I've read so many of them and watched so many of them um, over the years, where they say, I left the body and it was like I'd never felt anything like it before. I'd never experienced anything like it. And you go, but now you kind of back, right? Okay, yeah. You believe in reincarnation, right? That consciousness can do that. Yeah, oh yeah, I believe in reincarnation. Yeah, yeah. So you must have experienced it endless times. So what do you mean? It's I'd never experienced anything like it before. You obviously have. And the reason they can't is the mind wipe. And so, because of the mind wipe, that's still in the mind wipe state, which is why I've never experienced anything like it before, you are then at the mercy of projected religious heroes related to your particular belief in this life. And I explain in the books how that works and what makes it possible. And you, I mean, imagine you're a Christian and you believe in Christianity and you believe in Jesus as your savior, and you leave the body and suddenly there's a projection. You don't think it's a projection, but it's a projection of Jesus. Well, I mean, what's the chances that you're going to follow Jesus up the tunnel to the light? I mean, massive, of course.
Of course.
But
Especially after maybe a difficult life, especially maybe after a difficult death or sickness, right?
exactly, because you go into a low vibrational state. That's what they want you in, because the matrix, um, at its different levels, is a band of frequency. You go beyond that band of frequency with your perceptual state and your self identity, who you believe and who you know you are, and you're out of here. They don't want that. They want to keep you in the matrix multi-leveled frequency band. So you're coming in mind wiped. You're going through life where your perceptions are manipulated into religion and politics and all this crap. And then you leave the body and you're still in a mind wipe state. So you are at the mercy of the manipulation to get you on the what the Buddhists call the wheel of samsara, back into this world. So there is a period after the mind wipe and before you leave the body where you can get streetwise to the game. Is if you open your mind from the myopia and the program, you can start to tap in to awareness that gives you a fix on the game. And most importantly, again, gives you a fix on your true self identity. And so when you leave the body, it's not, oh, I've never experienced anything like it before. You leave the body and it's like, okay, I know the game, so I ain't playing it. And if your self identity is strong enough, is deep enough, the true I consciousness, then you're out of it. They can't keep you here. They can't, because these so-called archontic forces, which I write about in the books, um, they're not very bright. They're not very bright. They are themselves lost and disconnected from the greater reality of consciousness. And their ability is to know the game, therefore know how it's played, to understand that if people awaken to a certain self identity of self, their frequency reaches a point where they can't keep them in the simulation, then what they do by their knowledge of the game, which they keep from the population, so the dynamic of knowledge is ignorance but know the game against ignorance of not knowing the game, they are able to manipulate people into low vibrational states and subordinate states. So you are given within this human reality um, various choices, all of which lead to the same thing. One, you are told by orthodox science that you are a cosmic accident, that you emerged at some point from a primordial soup and eventually evolved to become Ethel on the checkout, right? Okay. And then when Ethel ceases to function bodily, she ceases to function and exist. Get letters after your name for that one. And then there's another alternative, which vast people still believe, and that is different versions called religions of you down here, he up there. He controls you. You have to keep him happy. Because depending on the religion, either you have multiple incarnations evolving to, but you never do, unless you awaken truly to keep him happy, or you have one life on earth, which can be born into a billionaire family or extreme poverty in Africa, Asia, wherever, and Mr. Big judges you on that one life on earth. You become a pastor if you believe that, and an imam, and all this stuff. And so, what's that? I'm subordinate to him. Subordination. Little me. I have no power. He has it all. Save me, Lord. No, no, no. Remember who you are. You don't need anyone to save you. You are an expression of all that is, has been, and ever can be. And then you have the kind of the new age and other expressions which say, oh no, we reincarnate. That's true, but it's to evolve, to learn lessons. All right, okay. So you're learning lessons. So you come in, you have your mind wiped, and then you go through a series of experiences that uh, you have no idea if you've had those experiences before, and so you could make the same quote mistakes that you made before because you've had your mind wiped. You're not actually learning anything, and then you go out the other end and you go up the tunnel, and then you do it again. And there's always, oh, there's more lessons to learn, so you have to go back. And oh, actually, the more extreme your experience, the more lessons you learn. And oh, this crap. And it's all subordination. When people leave the body in the near death experiences, they talk about, oh, I met these elders, or I met Jesus, or I met this uh, spiritual guide, and they and oh yes, because you're the spiritual guide, so I'm down here and I just did listen to what you say. What? What? Remember who you are. So what I'm saying is, this period before, after the mind wipe and before the return out of this reality, you have this period to suss it. So when you leave, you are streetwise in what's coming and you're out of here. And that is a period that is uh, desperately policed to make sure as many people as possible don't get it. And there's diversions galore. If you believe in Jesus as your savior, it don't matter what you've done in your life. It don't matter. As long as you believe in Jesus in as your savior, you'll be going to heaven. And actually, Jesus, and it's a projection, will be there to meet you and confirm it. Uh, and all by the way, if you live a very moral and straight life, and you're very kind to people, and you look after people, and it doesn't matter if you don't believe in Jesus, you're doomed. And then there's the Allah version, and there's the Yahweh version, and the Hindu version, and here we go. That's why it's so vital that you withdraw from that shite and just observe and see that it is all shite. Gatekeepers, structures, cul-de-sacs to park you in, so you don't suss it before the end, so that they can get you again. And so this period we call a human life is extremely important for that. And so we've come a long way from Tucker Carlson and Joe Rogan and all these people who are focusing attention on the partly awake.
But you have literally just spoken to a very fast growing number of people who are exploring just that.
Yeah,
And you have addressed some very real fears and worries, which I do get, because what I think most people grew up with in one way or another is they understand this world is very rules and regulations and laws based, and it all, like you say, authority systems, and they get that and totally understand it. But most people were sort of raised into belief once you pass over, it's all completely different, and it's
yeah,
all, and it's not. It's just as much
no,
a regulated system,
yeah,
and that system will have some more pleasant realms for you to go into. As long as it can keep you within its system, it can give you a more ethereal realm still part. And that's, I think, one that people are really hung up on, is this ascension talk that's been around for decades and decades in the new age. And oh, we will ascend. Yes. And it might be a more pleasant experience, but it's still within a construct that is here to hold you here because you're feeding it. And then people are saying, but what is beyond it? What is outside of this system? And they're scared of that because they say, what if I don't have any experiences any longer? What if I make the wrong choice? What if I'm offending this system? Or what if I'm turning, turning down my opportunity to have eternity? So these are all legitimate fears right now. And frankly, I don't know that anyone has all the answers to that, but I have a memory, I can say that. It's a different memory than in your mind, of a way of being and expressing that is completely free. It has no boundaries. Wherever my point of interest takes me, I can go. Whatever I wish to see, I can see. I have no way of explaining it in any other way. But to me, that memory comes from outside of this matrix system. It's not from within it. Do you have any memories, images, or explanations for what is outside of the system?
well, first of all, yeah, I have a feeling for what it's like outside the system, and it's a level of free expression of all possibility that it's very hard to comprehend in this deeply controlled, far more controlled than people ever realize, reality, or multiple realities. But what you say there about some people are fearful that they will lose the opportunity for eternity. Well, hold on a minute. That's all you can be. Consciousness is indestructible. It's manipulatable. It's suppressible, clearly, but it's indestructible. And therefore, you are eternal. You are infinite. The question is, what what do you want to do with that infinity? Do you want to stay within a closed system which dictates such limited possibility, or do you want to uh, emerge from it uh, and experience infinite possibility? And fear is a low vibrational state on which the whole matrix perception is founded upon, and it's there to keep you in um, a low vibrational state, which means you stay, your perceptions become your frequency within the bounds of the matrix, so you can't get out because your frequency is within that which is enslaving you, entrapping you. So fear uh, is something, and the biggest fear, of course, of all, if you break it down, is fear of the unknown. And the more that this system can keep um, the more unknown from you or to you, or make you feel that so much is unknown, the more you're going to fear the unknown. So why not just look at the known? What are you experiencing? Look at the world. Look at the state of it. Um, so and it kind of, is a bit of a head shaker to me to see people looking at the world and then asking God to help them, at the same time believing God created the world. Well, hold on a minute. He didn't do a very good bloody job, mate, did he? Have you seen it? What are you doing? But it's like,
That's
um,
our fault, David, because we're all sinners, don't you
yeah,
know?
well, that's the thing, you see. That's the thing. And if you're well, imagine, oh, you have original sin. All right, okay. So this little child who's never done any harm to anybody, and is gurgling and whatever, he's born with original sin, right? Oh yeah. I tell you a story. Oh dear. I when I first came to America in 1996, um, I went before, but I mean to talk about these things. Um, I was amazed. I was amazed to sit in hotel rooms on my own, night after night, week after week, month after month, flicking through the channels. Right, I'd never seen so many television channels in my life. We have a lot here now, but not in those days. And the first thing I remember is watching Fox News and thinking, what the hell is going on? It's not Fox News. It's Fox opinion from the right wing perspective.
Fair and balanced. Fair
Yeah,
and balanced.
fair and balanced. And oh yeah, CNN. Oh no, 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 CNN. That's from another perspective. That where they're trying to get you to see the world in a certain way. Of course, we have rules. I mean, they're ludicrous because they're not kept to in terms of the way they play. But there were rules in Britain that said you can't be
They
biased.
disguised it better. It was
Yeah,
is
they did,
better.
well, that
This is more entertainment. This is more show, you know?
that's a very good way of describing it. They hide it better, right?
Yeah.
Although increasingly, the more you awaken, they don't hide it at all. And but anyway, one night I'm sitting there, I'm flicking through the channels, and I came across this Catholic channel, and there was this priest with a dog collar on, who was answering questions from viewers, and I thought, okay, you got me. I'm going to watch this a bit. And this lady, it was so sad. This lady came on and said that she just lost a child, a baby, very soon after birth. And she was distraught because he couldn't have known about Jesus, never mind believed in him. So what will happen to my child now? And the I remember watching this, and the priest um, went into a period of extraordinary mental gymnastics and knickers twisting to try to explain from his story perspective what would happen to that baby. And it was like, oh, what will happen is he'll go into a kind of a realm, and it was it'll then what he was saying is, I haven't got a clue, lady, I haven't got a bloody clue, but he was trying to give it that it would go into some other realm, and then it would be judged later and all that stuff. Oh God. um
Oh God, indeed.
and that and that is the level of absurdity that holds humanity in servitude to a force that it would laugh at if you suggested, and I have, is actually behind all this. But what the awakening does is you start to see things in greater and greater and greater expansive terms, and you start to put the dots together that show you a picture that confirms that this is actually what's going on. I know you've done things with people like remote viewers and stuff, and what they describe, has been in my books for years and years, and it's great to hear the different ways that the same um, perspective is confirmed from all these different angles, and it's like, you know people say, well, prove it to me then. Well, it shouldn't take me long because of what you already believe without any proof whatsoever. It's unbelievable. So, you know, we are in an extraordinary place where I see anyway. I would really relate this to the jab in many ways. Um, People getting more and more closed down and more subordinate in their submission. Actually, what does Muslim mean? It means one who submits. Classic. Well, they all submit. That's the point. To what? Well, it's God. Well, how do you know that? And yet, at the same time, this closing down is happening, this subordination. More and more people are going the other way and awakening to a vastly greater sense of reality and also of self identity. So it's an extraordinary place we find ourselves, where this is going on in such extremely different ways, depending on awakening or not awakening of the people involved.
I gotta have a note here, say a note to the audience. When you interview David Icke, it's a very interesting experience because he anticipates where the next chapter or question might go and already kind of asks himself that. That's like for me, it's a surreal experience to always watch you do that. It's so synchronistic because literally that was going to be sort of the last chapter I wanted to open is this quote unquote bifurcation often talked about, this split in society, this big split, where on the one hand the big stream is the complete overtaking of technology of everything, this promise that we're going to be limitless, that production is limitless, that efficiency is limitless. Why? I don't know. Why we need to produce faster and more, I have no idea, but that's the promise anyway. And then there's the other section of society that simply has no interest in that really and doesn't see the point of it. And the question that people often ask us is what is what is a lifestyle within this reality that is most conducive to the process that you mentioned earlier, really continuing to awaken, sussing it out, becoming streetwise, as you say, and putting yourself in this position where you you are in charge of your journey again. You're not outsourcing it to technology, to some external savior or anything like that. And you've just become a gardener. So do you feel like returning to what we perceive as nature is an important step in this? Not a guaranteed one, but is it an important one?
Well, withdrawing from the technological society that's emerging is absolutely vital. You know, we have a media platform called Iconic, which involves news programs, and also I've been involved in many of these full-length documentaries about the nature of reality and exploring all the things we're talking about. And we made a decision, and it wasn't difficult to make, that we weren't going to use AI programming. We weren't going to use AI um, technology to make films, etc., which is what you're seeing increasingly now. Um, and that if you go onto Iconic, you know you are being spoken to by a human, and you know that as the films unfold, they have been edited and put together and shot by humans without the input of artificial intelligence to cover things that would take longer otherwise, right? And so I think that's a very symbolic of withdrawing from this technological society. Not there's nothing wrong with technology up to a point, if it serves humanity's interests. Um, I mean, you're in the United States, I'm in Britain, and we're talking to each other here. So I mean, that's a good expression of how we can communicate through technology. But once you pass that point, and we are past it, of course, where technology imposes itself upon humanity, and that's artificial intelligence, then you're in the process of a hijack of human society. I was watching I was reading some posts on the internet today, actually, about uh, predictions that within 5 years, I think it was an organization called Cloudflare, that AI would dominate the internet, and that humans would basically be an afterthought, an add-on with
Just a
with
tiny
AI.
fraction of the entire internet traffic would be human. Yeah, I
Yeah,
saw that.
that's right. And what's happening is, I keep saying over the years, the foundation of human control is control of perception, which means control of behavior. And AI is taking over the source of information from which humanity forms its perceptions. That story today was a classic. So we're being invaded, and I say we're being invaded by a non-human force that is behind the matrix through something called artificial intelligence. And crucially, and this is all supported, of course, by frontmen frauds like Elon Musk and Peter Thiel and Sam Altman and Larry Ellison and all these people, um, and who actually work as one unit. If only people realised it, the competition is just for public consumption, in effect. Um, and China, of course, is coming along massively to dominate the AI technology. Uh, and the whole idea is to fuse humanity, the biological computer, with artificial intelligence to shut out consciousness, to stop that reconnection with consciousness. It's the ultimate gatekeeper, artificial intelligence. And if you look at what is this is something that's not asked often enough. What is artificial intelligence? Well, it's algorithmic, yes. On one level, it's has another level where you are feeding it all the posts on the internet, so it knows more about humans than humans do. But there's another level of artificial intelligence, which is actually called artificial intelligence, which is the very consciousness behind the matrix. Um, the various names are given to it in various religions and cultures. Anything from Yoda, Baoth, and the demiurge to the devil and Satan to Shaitan to Iblis, and on it goes. That's what the artificial intelligence is that they want to fuse with humanity. And at that point, this consciousness, this deeply disturbed, schismatic, chaotic consciousness, um, turns humanity into expressions of itself. And it will not be asking, who am I? Where am I? What's this world? Who's controlling it? To what end? That will be gone. And so it's very, very important that we do not allow ourselves to be fused with artificial intelligence. And because that would then be the decision making, emotional responding process. Um, and that we do not get caught in the whole takeover of um, of humanity by artificial intelligence, and to an extent, that does mean withdrawing from the system to a large extent, which is increasingly being taken over by AI and digital systems. Um, because I never see it never ceases to amaze me when I go on the internet onto X maybe, and the you got people who think they're awake saying, "Is this true, Grok?
That's it's like this is
What?"
my pet peeve. I can't believe that people do this every day, all day, and then they trust that answer
Yeah.
fully.
And what's happening
It's
is you're submitting to the infiltration of artificial intelligence. Use your own mind to decide if it's true or not. Use your own research. Grok. So who owns Grok? Well, officially it's Elon Musk. He doesn't really, because he doesn't own any of it. Just the front man. But it's Elon Musk. All right, you'd trust him, would you? Crikey. Um, you must be naive. So that's part of it. But there's another level of this, you know. It's literally letting go. I remember some years ago, I tripped over a piece of furniture and smacked the wall with me right shoulder, like late at night. I wasn't drunk, by the way. I just didn't see the bloody furniture because there was a little light on, and I was uh, going over to put the big light on, and bang, over I went. And so I'm lying there um, with my shoulder seriously dislocated. And what you can do is you can go into fear, and you can go into poor me, victim mode. How could this happen to me? Or you can go into a mode that says, it is what it is. I'm lying here, my shoulders out, I'm struggling to get up, but it is what it is. And I went across to the hospital, and I stayed in that mode. It is what it is. And they said, "Oh, you know, well, we're going to do this. We're going to do that." I said, "Well, do what you need to do. Just put it back." And I was in um, this, this, this state of being where, okay, it is what it is. Do what you need to put it right, and then I'll go home and get on with my life without falling into the drama of it. Really. And I was, God, I think I was 70, 71 when it happened. I'm now 74, and it's like it's never happened, right? And pretty quickly, it was like it never happened, which is kind of strange in a way, if you take the aging thing into consideration. And it was like a, it was a place that was without the drama of it all. You just did what is necessary. I mean, this is the situation. Okay, so I've got to sort it out. Okay, so don't get caught in the drama of it all. Just do what you need to do. And I find myself more and more in that mode where you were withdrawn from the drama of life. It's like, there's people out there who um, they kind of take your information that you've taken 36 years to research, and they put it out as if it's all come from them, when they were like 14 when you started out. And then there's others that try to paint you staggeringly as a Satanist and a rapist and um, uh, a controlled opposition Freemason and all this stuff. And they put it out there, and they take your stuff and they call it, oh, it's come from me, they say. And they're not even content with that. They want to also discredit you at the same time they've taken your information. And what you can do is get caught in the drama of it, and the fury of it, and um, the the unfairness of it, in a sense. Or you can say it is what it is. It is what it is, and not get pulled into it, not get pulled into um, that level, that in which that drama takes you over and impacts upon your life. And I've found that I am withdrawn because I've had lots of experience of being ridiculed and abused over decades. So it does help to have that experience.
You
But
could say you've turned it into a profession over the decades for a while there.
yeah, but I did really. But I so
Not not consciously, obviously, but just by default, by saying things that people couldn't understand at the time.
yeah, well, it's like I say, people have said to me over the years, Didn't you know when you said that you get ridiculed? You know, I had actually worked that out. But you do it anyway. Otherwise, you keep your mouth shut and you lose
Yeah.
your self respect. But so I've reached this point where I'm I've always been I've always withdrawn from it and not let it affect me. But I'm now reached another level of um, of of going beyond it. Um, it's like, say what you like, do what you like, because I'm me and I'm going to be me, and nothing you can do is going to stop that. And I don't need you to like me. I actually don't need anyone to like me. It's nice that many do, but I don't need it because I am my own unique expression of infinite awareness, and thus I am going to be me. And if some people like that me, and a lot of people, some people don't like that me, well, that's fair enough. That's your right. That's your right to have that perspective of me. But I am going to be me, the unique, infinite me. And how you respond to me is your choice. But your response is not going to stop me being me, being the infinite I that I am. And in that way, you can get all the abuse and all the suppression through algorithms and all this stuff. And you think, oh, what a waste of time. What stupid people. They're trying to shut you up like this. But you don't get caught in the drama of it, and you find a like an equilibrium. It's not like a roller coaster ride anymore. I think
Mm.
that's a good way of describing it. It's not like a roller coaster ride anymore. It's like you find an equilibrium whereby when things happen you like, well, that's good, but you're not going to get kind of overexcited about it. And when things happen you don't like, well, you're not going to, that's fair enough, but you're not going to get too down and depressed about it. There's an equilibrium. It's like that poem by Rudyard Kipling, the British poet from a few years ago, to say the least, a few years ago now,
Is it
back in the
if
Raj of India, where he talked about meeting triumph and disaster as twin imposters.
it's my
Um,
favorite poem
it's a
of
great
all time.
line. It's a
Yeah.
great line because it is finding that equilibrium where nothing is too um, fantastic and nothing is too um, disastrous, because this roller coaster ride of emotions is what feeds the beast. And let's stop feeding it.
I will say that the way that David put this, it is kind of described through the lens of a gardener. I see that now. I can definitely see that because that's what gardening is too. My wife will tell you this. She's been doing it for many many years. You have to have this equilibrium in gardening too. You go up and down and you discover new things, and some years are better, some years are worse. But you get, I love this, and I also wanted to say, you probably as an author, I assume you have the same experience. Me as a songwriter, when I write a song, usually I have the feeling this is the best one yet. Not always, but usually. Like maybe as an author you have it too. But in terms of our conversations that we've had over the year, this one is my favorite. This one is by far my favorite. Uh, Beautiful journey, and I want to thank you for for your time, obviously, for the work that you do, for all of humanity, and for also having this, I don't know if humbleness is the right word, but letting people see that you go through expansions as well, just like everybody else. You have, your awareness broadens, your perspective on things changes over time. And I think that gives people the permission to not get addicted to certainty, but allow themselves to continue to expand, which is what, like you said, this awakening is. Um, In terms of what is upcoming, David, where can people keep up with you? I know your YouTube is back, which is a wonderful thing, but where
Yeah,
can they keep up with what
yeah,
you're doing?
with shadow banning. I
It
tell you
is
what,
with shadow, but it
I,
is there. There's a
it
step.
is
There's
there, which is good. But I tell you the funny thing is, that I was 5.5 years off it, and then it came back, and there was this big rush of people of subscribing to the channel. Not subscribing with money. I mean subscribing to the channel so they get notifications. Um, and it got up to 998,000, and it's been sitting there for ages. It's like, don't let him get to 1 million. It won't, that won't be right. That will trigger a few things, and we can't let that happen. So it's kind of sat there for ages. But um, yeah, but you can get me at davidicke.com, where all my videos are, and the daily news stories in the context of what they really mean. And there's, of course, iconic.com, which is our media platform, and these long form films, which we're constantly turning out, and the news stories, which are constantly running. I do a show every week, looking at the events of the week. So yeah, there's lots of places I can get, but it is amazing. I would just leave it with this. It is amazing that when you take a step back and um, you give yourself more ponder time, you may think that you are not working, and you might think, oh, I'm a bit guilty, I'm not working, I should be doing more. But actually, what comes to you enhances what you do, enhances the work that you do. It doesn't take from it. And ponder time is very, very, very important. It lets the truth in instead of focus of attention shutting it out.
Thank you. I do need to hear this from time to time. I'm getting better all the time, but I do need to hear it. I was definitely I was brought up in, my dad being a businessman, and it's sort of you are as much as you work, and hard work, and it's all that. And when you're programmed with that as a child, and many people are, it takes quite a while to get out of it and give yourself permission to experience what you just shared. So
Yeah,
thank you.
gotta,
Personally,
gotta, 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 gotta
yeah,
is part of the programming, and it doesn't mean you don't do things. You just do things better when you let consciousness in.
perfectly said. David Icke, thank you so much. As always, an honor and a pleasure. Thank you from the bottom of my heart.
It's a pleasure, mate. It's always great to talk to you.
Thank you, sir. And Inspired Tribe, thank you so much for tuning in. We love you, we appreciate you, and we'll be back with you again very, very soon. What if you could change the way your life feels without actually changing your life? No new routines, no new supplements, no complicated protocol. That's what the 7-day shift experiment is all about. Just activate your free trial and simply live your life as you normally would for 7 days. Then pay attention to what changes: your sleep, your energy, your mood, maybe even the world around you. Thousands are already experiencing this. Just go to 7dayshiftexperiment.com or click the link down below and join. It's absolutely free, and for once, change nothing. Just notice what changes.